Hello, my dear friends. This is Grace, and welcome to a process video from me. This is actually a different kind of process video as I'm sharing how I put together a pocket letter. If you don't know what a pocket letter is, you can always do a Google search to see what it is, or you can go over here in the YouTube description on the search bar and go and search pen pals, pocket letters, or I will link below to pocketletterpals.com, which is a site that I belong to. And basically, Pocket Letters is kind of the 21st century version of pen pals. It's super fun. You get to know other people and yes. Anyways, this pocket letter, specific one, is for a new friend, and she had requested that I make a vintage one. And it's actually a pocket letter slash recipe exchange because she wanted a recipe as well. So going back to the pocket letters, I had pulled together. Now, as you know me, if you've seen my process videos before, I am not a vintage person. So, but thankfully, I have all sorts of vintage products in my stash. And I pulled together, these papers are mainly from Marian Smith. And I think this is about a year old. And it had some really cute vintage inspired designs. And so I pulled that out. And I also have some of her ephemera and embellishments. And I'm starting off, so basically a pocket letter starts off with a trading card sheet protector, the one that you can find at your local office supply store, and it has 9 pockets. And so you cut your paper 2.5 by 3.5 so that it will fit all those slots, and then you write a letter, and each of the pocket you fill it in with something fun for the recipient. And so with this one, I've collected, like I said, I used mainly Marian Smith papers. I think I reached out that kind of light pink paper is, I believe, from Graphic 45. And then one of the things, the fun things about pocket letters that I was drawn to is the fact that we can swap products with other people. And so I just like that because I have a lot of stuff. I don't give out like things that, you know, are super old or things that I don't want, but maybe things that would still be used. Um, just a segue. I was having a hard time with this specific washi, and so I just ripped it up. For some reason, the rolls got stuck to one another, and so it just didn't want to roll out. And so I pulled out my washi, and I rearranged actually my room. And one of these days when I'm happy with it, I will do a tour so I can show you all the different things that I've done. But one of the things that I changed up was I switched up where I had stored my washi, and so that's what I pulled out there. And the washi, I am adhering to transparency. I cut out some of these Hambly transparencies, and I just think they're the best way to put some washi samples in my pocket letters, because the surface is slick, so that if the recipient wants to use the washi, that they can pull it, or he or she can pull it out really easily without it without the washi adhering to the surface of the card. And so I'm just going to roll my washi a few times so that my recipient can have a good sampling of some washi. And I decided to pick some that have a more vintage feel to it. And also I pulled out the colors from my paper. So like the brown and like the muted pink comes from colors of my paper, so as that the yellow and the kind of the turquoise blue. So I want to let you know that this process video is actually going to be cut off before I finish the letter, because this was kind of my last process video of the day when I was doing this, and so my card got really full and I didn't have the time um, to transfer the videos, and so it will be cut out. But I do have a few pictures at the end of details of the pocket letter so you can see what else that I put in there. So going back to these papers, I just love these papers and I'm so glad I held on to them because although vintage is not my thing, I was able to gather a lot of stuff here, like these kind of alphabet cards. They were so cute, and so I slipped that in for my recipient. One thing too that I like about the pocket letters is that you slip things. Well, what I do anyways. Some people, they decorate their the papers that they slip in the sheet protectors, and but for me, I mostly slip a lot of things. The reason why is because I want my recipient to be able to use the items that I give him or her. And so, like these stickers, I'm going to keep them on the sheet, although I think I'm going to trim them just so that they can fit the sheet, the 3.5 by 2.5 spot. And so I'm going to trim that. I'm adding some butterflies and some birds from Paper House. And then I have these die cuts and ephemera, and I'm just going through them, seeing what items are kind of in the vintage theme, and that I'm going to slip that in there as well. And just going through that. And one of the things that I really was drawn to pocket letters is because you get to kind of meet other people. You don't physically meet them, but then you get to know other people through their letters, because each pocket letter, you're supposed to write a letter about who you are, kind of just a little snippet of who you are. And so I get to know um, different kinds of crafters. And like I said before, I don't go to crops anymore. I haven't gone to crops in years. And so I feel like my online friends are really my only crafty friends. So for me to meet new friends through pocket letters, it's super fun for me. Oh, and here is one of my favorite parts of my vintage pocket letter. I found these there is this paper doll, and then it has all these paper clothes. So I'm going to fast forward this while I cut them all out. But I fussy cut all those, and then I'm going to put them in a little baggie and put them in the back. And then the little guy, I'm going to cut that guy out and then just slip it in the pocket. And then I'm going to do a little title and says dress me up. So I thought that was super fun. So the person can either use that for their crafting, or they can give it to one of their kids or grandkids to play with. So because I remember when I was a kid, I used to love all these little paper persons, and you can dress them up with different paper clothes. I thought that was pretty cute. Some other things that I added here would be I had a slip of the top one is going to be a little slip where I add a couple of charms there. And then I'm looking at my pictures here. I think I slip in some gems too, like rhinestones, bling type thing. I slip that in there too. And I slip a lot of die cuts that are vintage themed. That field notes that are on my left side, that is a die cut pack from SEI, and it had a ton of like butterflies and little old clocks, things that are for me under the vintage themed products. So I'm using some little letter stickers from my little shoebox, and these are great for labeling your sheets or your papers for each of the pockets. And I know Making Memories used to make these little stickers too, so I'm so glad I hung on to those letters as well. And then I'm also going to be adding a label for where I put the stickers. And then the center part, I was going to add these little hair brads or hair clips from the dollar store because I thought they were so cute. But the problem is they were just too bulky. And so I'm going to eventually take that off and then just add a couple of vintage looking flowers. And so that paper that I had put the bow in, it had a little bit of notch because I'm kind of using mostly scrap papers. So I has a little notch on the one side. And so I decided to cover that up with some of these photo corners. But then adding the photo corners, it made it bigger so it wouldn't fit the size of the sheet protector. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a brown, cut that in 2.5 by 3.5, and then cut my paper, the one with the florals, smaller, so that will be in the center of that brown. And then I'm going to add my uh, photo corners on there, and then add my elements, which will eventually be the flowers. um, what else did I add here? So of course I'm going to add my letter and my recipe. And she requested a dessert recipe. I still don't know what I'm going to be sharing, because my family loves um, desserts, so I just couldn't figure out which one. But here is some of the final pictures. I did add that blue with the Eiffel Tower. Those are actually kind of sticky notes. I added that there, and then just some labels. And if you want to see more of these process videos that mostly focusing on pocket letters, please leave a comment in the comment section or give a thumbs up. And always please subscribe if you want to see more from me, and I will see you when I see you. Thank you guys so much. Bye.